Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Thursday, February 12th. We're going to take a look at the market the way we usually do and look at gold, oil, some of the international indices, and then we're going to take a look at four stocks: Best Buy, FireEye, CBI, which is Chicago Bridge and Iron, and Celgene. All right, start off here with the Dow, which was up 110 points today. So we're continuing the push higher. We have not broken to new highs yet. S&P 500, I drew these fan lines. I think it was Saturday or sometime last week. And clearly they are breaking out of the fan lines, and the S&P 500 almost got to a new all-time high close today. The NASDAQ was stronger than any of these. And this is, I think I tweeted this earlier today. At one point, it was like March 29th or March 28th of 2000. So this is the highest reading, highest close since back then. So rapidly approaching the all-time high on NASDAQ. New York Composite. Again, you know, I've talked about how I thought this looked like some kind of head and shoulders consolidation or continuation pattern, whatever you want to call it. And I call them consolidation patterns. But it looks like it wants to go. And again, it is doing fan lines just like on the S&P 500, and it's breaking out. Now it's going to need to break this neckline here to confirm that move to the high side. And if it does, and if this is truly what this is a pretty big head for continuation. Now, I will have one caveat. The measurements that come out of head and shoulders consolidation type formations or patterns are not nearly as reliable as head and shoulder reversals at tops or bottoms. So we'll have to have that caveat, and we'll just watch to see how these bars trade and how the waves unfold. Russell 2000, again, strong just like in the NASDAQ, gapping up and pushing high here. Approaching this previous high on December 29th. We're getting very close. We'll see if we make a run for that trend line again. Let's see, short-term trading index. It's dropping. It hasn't gotten into an extreme reading yet, but it looks like it's trying to get there. The trend had a close of 0.64 today. Let's see, the next one is the VIX. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so the VIX dropped out of this consolidation, this triangle that I had drawn. And to me, that's an indication, again, of a breakout in reverse. So the VIX is dropping, the market's going up. This fear index is dropping out. Let's see, the high-low. High-low has turned up over the last couple of days. Looks like it's trying to, if you draw a little trend line in here, it looks like it's trying to break up. Now we'll see whether or not it takes out these high readings up in here. That'll be a sign of pretty strong bullishness. If it does, it's going to need to confirm that, I think, on a move. And let's see, the next thing we'll take a look at is gold. Gold's been pulling back quite a bit. Continues the pullback right to this heavy green line here, which is the neckline across this head and shoulders bottom. I actually need to put the shoulder market. But it's continued this pullback. We'll see whether or not it stops here or not. Now, see this very light purple line? Okay, that is part of a channel, okay, a down channel. And so what this is doing is it's pulling back to the top of that channel that it broke out of also. So you're getting two things happening at once. And we'll see whether or not it gets support in here. You would think it would. But the fact that this is overlapping this wave now makes me wonder, we got some kind of ABC counter trend move. And it could be part of a bigger B move, because I do think now that this big move to the downside was an A move, 5 waves down. And I'm talking about this entire move. Looks like 5 waves down. Clearly this was wave 4, and we had 5 waves in this 5th wave down. So I'm labeling this as a primary wave A, which would then mean that we would be getting a B in a counter trend, and a B is going to have 3 waves to it. Typically it'll be like a zigzag. Well, I had to take a drink there, and something caught in my throat. It's kind of weird. Anyway, so that's what's happening on gold. Let's take a look at oil. I like this, and I mentioned this before, U.S. oil, United States 12-month oil ETF. Now, it's not heavily traded like USO and that type of thing, but I like it because it more accurately reflects the changes in the price of oil. And so you can see that oil bounced up a little bit today, but it hasn't broken up past the peak that it got here on the 3rd, which was a week ago Tuesday. So a little bit of rally. It's consolidating in here. So the real question is this a big move up here and a consolidation? Actually, why don't I go ahead and just draw a couple things, because really, if it is a consolidation, then let's make it look like a consolidation, because that would mean that it's like a little bit of a flag forming, or a pennant. You see if it gets out a little bit tighter, or it could break right on out of this consolidation pattern for another leg to the upside. And if it does, I would guess that it would be almost maybe equal to this leg here, flagpole. All right, let's go ahead and look at our international indices. Let's start off with Germany. The German extra DAX continues to push. This was the 6th, which was last Friday. So it's up slightly from last Friday. I had a big down move on Monday, and it has clawed its way back up, had a nice big move today. And of course, that is probably on this news of this peace talks that they're trying to negotiate with Russia, Ukraine, and all of that. And of course, Russia's stock market is rallying also as a result of that. Now, we talked about this before. This had some consolidation in here, like a flag, sideways flag, flagpole, and breaking out. So we're getting that breakout here. This is the last. What is this? This was Friday. No, that's Monday. So this is the 4 days this week. So it's broken out, struggled a little bit, but it looks like it's trying to run. And the next one is India, Nifty 50. Okay, up the last 3 days here. And so now I am thinking, which I had this labeled, I believe, can't remember when, it must have been last Thursday that I did this, that I thought that this was a 4th wave coming back, which would imply a 5th minor wave moving up, which we'll see if that completes the 5th intermediate wave, which would then complete the primary wave. Let's see, the next one is the Shanghai Composite. There it is. This one also has acted out just like I thought it might in terms of the way the waves, ABC. My only concern is this seems a little shallow for a complete correction. Like, it's tempting to mark this as wave 2 pullback, but it seems kind of shallow given this big move that it had. When you look at this, let's say we go from here, just for grins, let's just use that one. We go from here. It's only a 23.6% pullback. That's pretty shallow. Typically, you want at least a 38%, or you're expecting, let's put it that way, a 38 to 50 or greater for a wave 2 pullback. But there's no mandate that says you have to have it, have to have that. So we'll see whether this starts to rally and get back above point B. All right, let's dive into our stocks right now. Best Buy is the first one. Boy, this thing has really been rallying, and it's up in the point though where I think it's going to start running into some. The previous selling came in up here. Okay. What's the high? 39.79. So if you run a line across the top, then you're really talking about right in here is where basically resistance started coming in. The sellers started turning back the buyers, right? So this is going to potentially run into that, or if it's strong enough, let's take a look at the volume. And volume's been less than the 50-day moving average, okay, when it's below that dotted line. Today it wasn't, but the last few days leading up. So we'll see whether or not it gets enough power in here now to blast through that. And of course, then what else is it looking at? This resistance is really coming in at the that congestion that you're going to see over here at the previous top, okay? So it's coming in right in here, and it's going to have to get through all this, which, you know, all these people who bought in here, now when it comes back up in there, they're going to be turning this thing back. We'll see how much buying comes in on Best Buy. It might. Okay, the next one let's take a look at is FireEye. FireEye had a big day today. So it was up 3.94 points today. Percentage-wise, big move. And but the concern I've still got a little bit on FireEye is it looks like it's in this trading range down here. Now, granted, this isn't well defined. I mean, it wasn't like we came up to this peak a couple of times. It's just that, you know, it's sitting there. You know, it got through this, which again, it kind of came up to it here and stalled out a little bit and then blasted through it. So now, I mean, that may be an indication that it's getting ready to go. You know, we've got nice trend lines on short term and intermediate term to the upside. We've just got this longer term, you know, down like this. And of course, that's being weighted by this heavy big move that has made. So the short term's got to turn first, then the intermediate's got to turn, and then the long term turns last. So right now, it's acting pretty nice. We'll see if we can get through this next resistance point. And, well, let's take a look at the volume on that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of in blast off mode. And so it's got some power behind it, especially yesterday too. Of course, that was on a selling day, but volume was, you know, came in the last 2 days. So that's looking, let's take a look at the, you know, nice move on the indicators, you know, looking positive, you know, no divergence showing up at all. So, I mean, it's just confirming nice, solid, strong move in FireEye. And the next one is Chicago Bridge and Iron. And it has had, you know, quite a bit of a downtrend and, you know, tough times. And it's trying to turn, I think, in here. Getting a couple closes above the 10, but I'm not sure I trust that a whole lot. And we are getting divergence. You can see that, you know, went to lower lows and lower lows, but the RSI did not confirm that. Same thing on the demand index, although it's a little weaker here. Let's take a look at, and the same thing with DI minus. Okay, so this did not go to a higher peak than this. This did not go to a higher peak. So it's the moves, the last couple of moves down. We're getting weaker and getting weaker. And then, of course, this may have been a capitulation type volume type day in here. So it could be that it is trying to turn. And we'll have to watch and see if we get a moving average cross and get something to set up. Right now, it's, you know, just something worth watching, I think. And then the next one is Celgene. Celgene has been very strong. I drew this because I thought maybe it looked a little bit like a rising wedge, like an ending wedge, although the wedge, I'll admit, is not as narrow. It's not narrowing as much as I would like up in here. But even if you ignore that and you just look at this trend line here, it is breaking that. Okay, let me extend it. Okay, so it's broken down through it, pulled back. Now it's rolling over a little bit more. Okay. So we do have divergence that's showing up on that stock. So it's been so strong, you just wonder whether or not, I mean, you see this divergence here. We got a little bit of that in here, but we didn't get any break. It started to, but then it came back. And I need to, okay, I got a filter on this on my computers that kick in after sunset and cuts the I don't know, it kind of helps on your eyes in the evening anyway, and it started to kick in, so I installed that out. So right now this looks like it's getting much stronger divergence, and you know, there could be a chance this thing is really rolling over, although I'm really hesitant to try to play it, honestly, because the moving averages are we still have the 21 above the 55. 55 is well above the 233. So there's still intermediate and long term is still to the high side. And if we got the market, you know, breaking out or potentially breaking out, this is a stock that I have a hard time, you know, telling myself that we ought to buy puts on, you know. So I'm just going to watch this one, and we'll see what happens. And maybe wait to, you know, if it does roll over, I mean, wait till the moving averages align a little more negatively before you get in. So, all right, that's it for tonight. We'll be back on Saturday with a weekend market update. It's been Joe for Beyond the Chart, and if you're not watching this at my website, head on over to the website, check it out, got several things over there. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. It's very easy to do, gives you access to the Trade Ideas webpage and a couple of other things there, I believe. And that's it. Everyone have a great Friday. Talk to you soon.